Queen Elizabeth I, the last Tudor ruler, was Queen of England for 44 amazing years. Her reign, which began in 1558, marked a period of unprecedented stability and prosperity for England. She ascended to the throne at the age of 25, following the tumultuous reigns of her half-siblings, Edward VI and Mary I. Elizabeth's rule is often celebrated for its cultural renaissance and the flourishing of the arts, particularly the works of William Shakespeare and the advent of the English Renaissance theatre. Her time as queen, a time of peace and wealth, is known as the Elizabethan Golden Age. This era saw the expansion of English influence through exploration and the establishment of overseas colonies. Figures like Sir Francis Drake and Sir Walter Raleigh became national heroes, and the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 solidified England's naval supremacy. The Elizabethan era was also a time of relative religious tolerance, as Elizabeth sought to navigate the deep divisions between Catholics and Protestants. But there's one question that still puzzles historians. Why did Elizabeth choose to never get married? Despite numerous suitors and political alliances that could have been strengthened through marriage, Elizabeth remained single throughout her life. This decision earned her the nickname the Virgin Queen, and it has been the subject of much speculation and debate among scholars. Was it a personal choice, a political strategy, or a combination of both? Known as the Virgin Queen, she did things differently. Elizabeth's decision to remain unmarried allowed her to maintain full control over her throne and her kingdom. In an era when women were often seen as subordinate to their husbands, Elizabeth's choice to rule alone was revolutionary. She skillfully used her single status to her advantage, playing suitors and foreign powers against each other to secure political leverage. She decided to rule on her own. This autonomy enabled her to make decisions that were in the best interest of England, without the influence of a husband who might have had his own agenda. Elizabeth's independence was a key factor in her ability to navigate the complex political landscape of the time, balancing the interests of powerful nobles, foreign monarchs, and religious factions. Throughout her reign, Elizabeth skillfully handled the tricky world of court life and international politics. She surrounded herself with trusted advisors such as Sir William Cecil and Sir Francis Walsingham, who helped her manage the affairs of state. Elizabeth's intelligence, wit, and political acumen earned her the respect and loyalty of her subjects, as well as the admiration of foreign leaders. She knew her position was risky as a woman and as a Protestant queen in a mostly Catholic Europe. The threat of invasion and internal rebellion was ever present, and Elizabeth had to be constantly vigilant. Her refusal to marry was also a way to avoid the potential for foreign influence over English affairs, as a marriage to a foreign prince could have compromised her authority and the independence of her nation. Marriage, a normal thing for most rulers, was complicated for Elizabeth. The political implications of any potential marriage were immense, and Elizabeth was acutely aware of the dangers. She used the prospect of marriage as a diplomatic tool, engaging in courtships with various European princes to keep her enemies guessing and to forge temporary alliances. However, she never allowed herself to be bound by the constraints of matrimony. To understand why her decision was so important, we have to go back in time. The England that Elizabeth inherited was a nation in turmoil, still reeling from the religious upheavals initiated by her father, Henry VIII. The country had been torn apart by the Reformation, and the subsequent reigns of Edward VI and Mary I had only deepened the divisions. Elizabeth's primary goal was to bring stability and unity to her fractured kingdom. England, still recovering from the religious changes made by her father Henry VIII, needed stability. Henry's break with the Catholic Church and the establishment of the Church of England had set off a chain of events that left the nation deeply divided. Elizabeth's religious policy, known as the Elizabethan religious settlement, sought to find a middle ground that would appease both Catholics and Protestants, and her decision to remain unmarried was a part of this broader strategy to maintain peace and order. Elizabeth knew this, and she realized that her decision to marry or not wasn't just about her, it was about her country's future. By choosing to remain single, she was able to focus on the needs of her nation and to govern without the complications that a royal marriage would have brought. Her reign, marked by wisdom and foresight, left a lasting legacy that shaped the course of English history for generations to come. Elizabeth's choice to stay single was a strategic political move. Marriage, often used to create alliances and have heirs, could have easily gone wrong for her. By staying single, Elizabeth kept complete control over England. A foreign husband, for example, might want some of the power, which could weaken England's independence. Marrying a foreign king could also force England into wars or alliances it didn't want, ruining Elizabeth's careful neutrality. Even marrying an Englishman was risky. Choosing a husband from her nobles could make other powerful families angry, possibly leading to fights and rebellion. Elizabeth had seen the chaos that could happen when people fought over who would be king or queen. Her own right to the throne was questioned, reminding her that power was fragile. While politics were a big part of Elizabeth's decision, her own feelings might have mattered too. Some historians think the troubled love life of her mother, Anne Boleyn, affected her deeply. Anne was accused of bad things and was executed. This awful event might have made Elizabeth not trust marriage. Others think Elizabeth, a very smart and independent woman, simply didn't want to give up her freedom to her husband.
She loved being queen and gave everything to her country. She might have seen marriage as something that would take her away from her royal duties and her freedom.
It's also possible that Elizabeth did have feelings for some people, like her childhood friend and advisor Robert Dudley. However, marrying Dudley, who was already married, would have been too risky for the country. Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester, was very important to Elizabeth. Their bond was not just one of political convenience, but one of deep personal connection. From their early days, they shared a unique camaraderie that was evident to all who observed them. Dudley was not just a nobleman in her court, he was a confidant, a trusted advisor, and perhaps the love of her life. A friend from childhood and always by her side, Dudley was rumoured to be the love of her life. Their friendship began in the innocence of youth, blossoming into a profound relationship that endured the trials of court life. They shared secrets, dreams, and ambitions, creating a bond that was both unbreakable and unparalleled in the annals of history.
I was always at court, and my influence was clear. My presence was a constant reminder of the Queen's favour. I navigated the intricate politics of the Elizabethan court with ease, always ensuring that my loyalty to Elizabeth was never in question. My actions and decisions were often seen as extensions of her will, further solidifying my position. Elizabeth gave me many gifts and titles, making people wonder about our relationship. Each honour bestowed upon me was a testament to our close bond. The titles, lands and privileges I received were not just rewards for my service, but symbols of the deep affection and trust Elizabeth had in me. These gestures often fueled the rumours and speculations about the true nature of our relationship.
If Elizabeth wanted to marry for love, Dudley might have been the one. Their connection was undeniable, and many believed that if circumstances had been different, they would have been wed. Their mutual respect and admiration were evident in their interactions, and it was clear that Dudley held a special place in Elizabeth's heart, but he was already married, and there were suspicions about his first wife's death, making him a dangerous choice politically. The mysterious circumstances surrounding Amy Robsart's death cast a shadow over Dudley's suitability as a consort. The court was rife with whispers and accusations, and any move towards marriage would have been fraught with scandal and political repercussions. Marrying Dudley would have shocked the court and possibly caused trouble for the country. The political landscape of the time was delicate, and any misstep could lead to unrest. Elizabeth, ever the astute ruler, understood the potential consequences of such a union. She knew that her choice of consort was not just a personal decision, but one that could impact the entire realm.
Plus, I wasn't important enough on the world stage for Elizabeth. Despite my influence at court, I lacked the international stature that Elizabeth needed in a consort. The alliances and political advantages that could be gained from a foreign marriage were crucial for England's position in Europe. Elizabeth's suitors from foreign courts offered strategic benefits that I simply could not provide. I was English, and becoming king wouldn't have helped England as much as marrying a foreign king. The political alliances that could be forged through marriage were vital for the stability and security of the nation. Elizabeth's choice of a foreign consort was a strategic move to strengthen England's position on the global stage, ensuring peace and prosperity for her people.
People gossiped a lot about their relationship, but Elizabeth chose her country over her heart. The court was abuzz with rumours and speculations, but Elizabeth remained steadfast in her duty. She understood the weight of the crown and the responsibilities that came with it. Her decisions were always guided by what was best for England, even if it meant personal sacrifice. She put England's safety above her own desires. Elizabeth's reign was marked by her unwavering commitment to her country. She navigated the complexities of politics, love, and duty with grace and wisdom. Her legacy is a testament to her strength and dedication, and her relationship with Robert Dudley remains one of the most poignant and enduring stories of her time. Of all the men who wanted to marry Elizabeth, there were many suitors from various noble families across Europe. Each one brought with him a promise of alliances, wealth, and power. But among these suitors, one stood out not just for his royal lineage, but for the sheer magnitude of his influence and ambition. Philip II of Spain was a powerful choice. As the ruler of one of the most formidable empires of the time, his marriage to Elizabeth could have created a superpower alliance. His court was grand, his influence vast, and his ambitions even greater. Already married to Elizabeth's older half-sister Mary, Philip had once been the King of England through this union. Their marriage was a significant political move, aimed at consolidating Catholic power in England. Philip saw a chance to rule both England and Spain. This union would not only strengthen his empire, but also ensure that Catholicism remained dominant in both realms. His vision was one of a unified, powerful, and devoutly Catholic Europe.
I was a strong Catholic, deeply committed to my faith. My reign was marked by efforts to defend and spread Catholicism, and I saw England as a crucial part of this mission, and wanted England to become Catholic again. The Protestant Reformation had taken hold in England, and I believed it was my duty to reverse this tide and restore the true faith. I wanted to be seen as the protector of the faith. My actions were driven by a sense of divine duty, and I believed that by marrying Elizabeth, I could guide England back to the Catholic fold.
For Elizabeth, marrying Philip would have been a practical but unpopular choice. While it promised political stability and protection, it also came with significant risks and potential backlash from her subjects. It would have protected England's southern border from potential invasions. The alliance with Spain could have provided a formidable defense against other European powers, ensuring the security of her realm, and maybe stopped the religious problems in her country. The religious turmoil that had plagued England could have been quelled with Philip's influence, bringing a semblance of peace and unity. But it would have come at a high price. The English people, fiercely proud of their independence and Protestant faith, would not have easily accepted a Spanish king.
England, a proud and independent country, valued its sovereignty above all. The thought of being ruled by a foreign power, especially one as dominant as Spain, was unthinkable to many. Wouldn't have liked being ruled by a Spanish king. The memories of Mary Stuart's reign, marked by religious persecution and Spanish influence, were still fresh in the minds of the English people. People still remembered Mary Stuart's reign, a time of religious persecution and Spanish control. Her efforts to restore Catholicism had led to widespread unrest and resentment. A time of religious persecution and Spanish control. The burnings of Protestant heretics and the heavy-handed rule of the Spanish had left a lasting scar on the nation.
Marrying Philip would have been very unpopular. The English nobility and commoners alike would have viewed it as a betrayal of their national identity and religious beliefs, and could have caused rebellions. The potential for civil unrest and even armed rebellion was high, as the people would have fought to protect their way of life. Elizabeth, always a smart politician, knew the dangers. She understood the delicate balance of power and the importance of maintaining the support of her people. She chose to keep England Protestant and independent, a decision that would define her reign. By rejecting Philip's proposal, she asserted her authority and commitment to her nation's sovereignty, even if it meant making Philip angry. This decision set the stage for future conflicts, but also solidified Elizabeth's legacy as a strong and independent ruler. Another important suitor was Francis, Duke of Anjou, the younger brother of the French king. This match, suggested to strengthen ties between England and France, had both good and bad sides for Elizabeth.
On the one hand, an alliance with France would protect England from Spain, which was always a threat. It would also give Elizabeth access to French trade routes and military support.
However, Francis was Catholic, and marrying him would have caused religious problems in England again. Elizabeth was trying to keep both her Protestant and Catholic subjects happy and couldn't afford to upset either side.
Also, the age difference between us, almost 20 years, made people uncomfortable.
Elizabeth thought about marrying Francis for a while, but eventually said no. The religious and political problems, along with the age difference, were too much.